hit that subscribe button. Drop a like to let the world know the lone wolves are still out here. Most people see being alone as a punishment. They feel lost when they're not surrounded by friends, family, or constant attention. But the ones who truly grow, the ones who rise, are the ones who learn how to survive and thrive in the wilderness. Not the physical kind, but the mental and emotional wilderness. That space where no one checks in on you, no one claps for you, no one even notices you. That's where warriors are built. Think about the lone wolf. It's not in the safety of the pack that it becomes strong. It's out there in the cold, in the silence, hunting for survival. Every step it takes is calculated, every move is sharp. There's no one to rely on, no one to lean on. It either becomes sharp or it dies dull. That's how life works when you decide to walk alone. See, the wilderness doesn't give you comfort. It gives you clarity. It strips away everything fake, everything shallow, and forces you to see who you really are. When you're out there with nothing but your thoughts and your drive, that's when the inner voice gets louder. That's when you realize you don't need the noise to feel strong. You just need direction. Most people want to skip this part. They want the reward without the isolation. They want strength without struggle. But strength comes from the struggle. Confidence comes from knowing you made it through the nights nobody else saw. You didn't post it. You didn't talk about it. You just kept going. That kind of power can't be bought or borrowed. It has to be built. And the only place you build that kind of power is in the wilderness. You start to develop discipline that no one taught you. You start keeping promises to yourself. You wake up when you say you will. You train when nobody's watching. You study, you build, you grind without needing a single ounce of validation. That's what the wilderness gives you, a version of yourself that's real, raw, and ready. So, the next time you feel like you're alone in the middle of nowhere, remember this. The wilderness isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. That's where warriors are born. That's why you become one. Most people are afraid of being alone. They see isolation as something negative, something to avoid. But the truth is, isolation is not your enemy, it's your weapon. When used right, it becomes your greatest advantage. Because in isolation, distractions disappear. You stop chasing approval, you stop worrying about who's watching, and you finally start focusing on what matters. You think about a lone wolf again. It's not crying about being alone. It's not looking around for someone to guide it. It's locked in, focused. Why? Because survival demands it. Growth demands it. That wolf doesn't waste time explaining itself for the pack. It moves in silence. It sharpens its instincts. And it gets stronger every single day alone. That's what isolation gives you. Clarity. You start to see where you've been wasting time. You notice how much energy you gave to people who didn't deserve it. You realize how much of your life was controlled by opinions, likes, and fake support. But in the silence, when it's just you, all that noise fades, and for the first time you hear your real voice. Not the voice they gave you, yours. Most people never hear that voice because they're never quiet long enough. They always need something playing in the background. Music, social media, conversations, constant noise. But that's just a cover-up. Because the moment you're alone, you start facing truth. And truth isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary. See, isolation forces you to grow. It puts pressure on your mindset. There's no one to blame, no one to hold your hand. It's just you and your choices. That pressure, that's how diamonds are formed. That's how leaders rise. You stop asking for motivation because discipline takes over. You stop doubting your worth because you see how much you can survive on your own. People won't understand why you disappear. They'll say you've changed. They'll think something's wrong. But that's just because they don't know what it means to sharpen yourself in silence. They don't know isolation is where the shift happens. the transformation, the comeback. So don't fear being alone. Use it. Make it your weapon. Because while they're talking, you're training. While they're wasting time, you're becoming something unshakable. That's what isolation does. It turns you into a force they never saw coming. When you start walking alone, you begin to hear life differently. The loud voices around you, opinions, gossip, fake praise, useless criticism, they all start to sound the same. It becomes noise. And after a while, you realize it's not worth listening to. You don't hate people. You don't think you're better than them. You've just outgrown the noise. See when you're chasing something real, something deep, something that matters. You stop caring about surface level conversation. You stop wasting energy proving yourself to people who wouldn't understand your vision even if you explained it 100 times. Why? Because they're not walking your path. They're standing on the sidelines talking, but you're moving. It's not ego, it's evolution. You stop needing validation. You stop needing to be liked. You start paying attention to your peace. You protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. And anyone who brings confusion, doubt, or drama, you cut them off quick, not with hate, but with wisdom. You've learned not every voice deserves your attention. The world loves noise. It rewards those who talk the loudest. But the real ones, the focused ones, the ones building something solid, they learn to walk in silence. They move without posting. They improve without announcing. They stay low and let the results do the talking. When you outgrow the noise, your circle gets smaller. Your days get simpler. But your vision, it gets sharper. You stop chasing crowds and start chasing character. You stop asking, what do they think of me? And start asking, what do I think of me? That's the shift. That's when you know you're growing. And here's the truth. Some people won't like the new you. They'll miss the old version of you. The one who needed them, who laughed at their small jokes, who stayed stuck in the same place with them. But you can't stay where you've outgrown. Growth requires movement. And movement makes noise uncomfortable. So if you find yourself losing interest in shallow conversations, losing patience with small minds, losing your need to impress people, you're not broken. You're just leveling up. You're not angry, you're just aware. You've outgrown the noise. Now you're walking with purpose. And that kind of walk doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. When you start walking alone, something powerful happens. You begin to see things clearly. All the distractions that once pulled your focus start to fade away. The pressure to impress, the need to fit in, the fear of missing out. It all quiets down, and in that silence, your real vision begins to sharpen. You're no longer trying to keep up with what everyone else is doing. You're not looking side to side anymore. You're looking straight ahead, and that's what silence gives you. Focus. Pure, undiluted focus. And with that focus, your goals become clearer, your priorities shift, and your direction becomes locked in. Most people can't hear their own thoughts because they're buried under too much noise. Constant notifications, useless conversations, opinions coming from every direction. But when you step into silence, when you choose to be alone, you get rid of all that. You finally get to ask yourself the hard questions. What do I want? Who am I becoming? What am I really here for? And the answers? They don't always come fast. Sometimes it takes days, weeks, or even months of quiet before things start clicking. But that's the beauty of it. In silence, you develop patience. You stop rushing. You stop comparing. You start building your own timeline, your own journey, your own pace. A lone wolf doesn't move with panic, conserving your strength for what does matter. Silence also helps you recognize who's really for you. When you stop talking so much, you see who sticks around. When you stop showing up for everyone, you notice who disappears. And that's a gift. Because clarity isn't just about your goals, it's about your circle too. Who adds peace? Who causes confusion? The silence will show you. So if your life feels quiet right now, don't panic. That silence is not empty. It's full of answers. Let it sharpen you. Let it guide you. Because in the end, it's not the loud ones who make history. It's the ones who stayed focused when nobody was watching. People don't like to struggle. They don't like facing challenges, setbacks, or obstacles. In fact, most try to avoid them at all costs. But here's the truth. Strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from the struggle, from the times when everything feels like it's against you, from the moments when you want to quit, but you choose to push through anyway. Think about a lone wolf. It doesn't grow stronger because it has it easy. It grows stronger because it faces the element alone. It battles the harsh winds, the cold nights, and the constant hunt for food. It doesn't get a break. It doesn't get sympathy. But with every challenge, it gets tougher. With every setback, it gets wiser. It doesn't run away from the struggle, it embraces it. That's the key to growth. You're not meant to avoid struggle. You're meant to face it head on. You're meant to use it as fuel to move forward. Life is going to throw obstacles at you. Guaranteed. People will doubt you. You'll face failure. You'll feel like you're running in circles sometimes. But those moments of struggle, they're your chance to level up. They're the tests that reveal what you're really made of. Struggle sharpens you. It forces you to dig deep, to find strength you didn't even know you had. When everything seems impossible, that's when you discover your true potential. That's when you learn what you're capable of. You stop relying on excuses and start relying on your own grit. You stop waiting for things to get easier and you start learning how to handle the hard stuff. The world will tell you to avoid pain. They'll tell you to take the easy road. But the easy road doesn't lead to greatness. It leads to mediocrity. True strength is built in the hardest moments. It's the sweat on your brow, the bruises on your soul, the times when you feel like quitting but choose to keep going anyway. That's where real power is found. So if you're in the middle of a struggle right now, don't back down, don't run away. Embrace it. Because that struggle is what's going to build you into the person you were meant to become. It's what's going to give you the strength to keep going when the rest of the world gives up. It's what will separate you from the pack. Most people spend their lives letting others tell them who they should be. They let their friends, family, society, or even strangers shape their identity. They let other people's opinions guide their decisions, their dreams, and their actions. But here's the truth. Nobody else has the right to define you but you. Think about a lone wolf again. It doesn't ask for permission to exist. It doesn't look for approval. It doesn't care what anyone thinks. It just is. It knows its worth, its purpose, and its path. It doesn't let other animals or the environment change its nature. It knows exactly who it is and doesn't need anyone else to confirm it. In the same way, you need to take full control over your own identity. You're not here to fit into someone else's mold. You're not here to live someone else's version of your life. The moment you let other people dictate who you are is the moment you lose your power. You hand over the steering wheel of your life to someone else, and they drive you wherever they want. But when you define yourself, when you decide who you are and what you stand for, you take your power back. You take full responsibility for your choices, your path, and your future. You no longer need to seek validation from others because your sense of self is solid. You stop looking for approval because you already know your worth. You become unstoppable. This doesn't mean you don't listen to feedback or constructive criticism. It means you don't let other people's judgments or opinions determine your self-worth. Their opinions are just that, opinions. Your truth is the only thing that matters. And when you build a strong sense of self, you protect yourself from being influenced by negativity or criticism. A lone wolf doesn't need a crowd to tell it it's strong. It knows it is. It doesn't wait for the pack to cheer it on. It keeps moving, trusting that it's on the right path, trusting its instincts. That's what you have to do. Trust yourself. Define who you are, not by what others say, but by what you know to be true. You are the author of your own story. Don't let anyone else write it for you. Take control of your life, your choices, and your identity. Define yourself. Now it's time for you to step into that path. To walk your path, even if you're walking it alone. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need anyone to tell you how strong you are. You already know. So if you're ready to embrace your own journey, to become the lone wolf, and to define your own life, hit that subscribe button. Like this video if you're ready to move inside.